Ariel Helwani at Radio City Music Hall in New York City, gearing up for UFC 128 alongside UFC President Dana White. And Dana, long time no see.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've talked to one another. Since we last spoke just a few days ago on the big news about Strikeforce, how has your life changed?
Not at all. Not one bit.
Business as usual, would you say?
Business as usual. Exactly. I was just doing an interview before. I said, if I have to say business as usual one more time, I'm going to kill myself. Yes, business as usual.
You need to come out with T-shirts, business as usual,
Yeah,
Dana White.
Exactly.
But I must say, from when we spoke to when the conference call was on Monday, it seemed as though maybe you were a little more open to super fights, things like that. Has anything changed since we talked at all?
No. Anything's possible. I'm not going to say we'll never do this and we'll never do that. And even now, sitting here today, the deal is still very new. So we'll see how this whole thing goes.
How did it go with Showtime when you? I know it wasn't you specifically that talked to them, but Lorenzo, how did that go?
No, it was actually Scott Coker talked to Showtime, then Lorenzo talked to him, and I think Lorenzo's going to meet with them this week.
Are they open to working with you guys?
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah. We'll find out when Lorenzo meets with him this week.
On Tuesday, you were in Albany. It seemed as though it was a pretty good trip, right?
Yeah, it was very good. I felt like we got in front of the right people. We tried to educate and explain to people who we are, where we came from, and where we're going, and we'll see what happens.
I'm no politician, but it seemed to me from reading the articles after your meeting with the group in Albany that it's now on the budget, right? And now it's in a better place than where it was maybe 2 months ago, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know where you really are. We'll find out. I literally have not thought about it since we've left Albany. We went up there and we did our thing, and whatever happens, happens. It's one of those things you can't dwell on. You can't sweat it. You just gotta. It is what it is. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Obviously, we have a big event on Saturday in Newark, Jon Jones versus Mauricio Shogun, who I know you're a very big boxing fan, a boxing historian. Do you see this as sort of, when Mike Tyson sort of came on in his big title fight, he was 20-something years old, kind of around the same age as Jon Jones. Do you view this as maybe your moment in the UFC here with Jon Jones?
Yeah, I do. It's funny because you got a guy like Shogun who has been around for 10 years and fought the best of the best, man. This kid has so much experience in big fights. I mean, he's fought in front of 100,000 people. He's fought in Pride. He's fought over here. So you take a guy like Jon Jones, who just breaks into the top 5, weeks ago, and he's just one of those special fighters. They come every once in a while, and the fact that this kid is ranked, Shogun is the underdog in this fight as far as betting goes, is amazing.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it shocks me. I'm shocked that he's the underdog.
He's very upset. He thinks he gets no respect.
Yeah, well, I would have to agree with him. The fact that he's the underdog is crazy. That the guy who just broke into the top 5 a few weeks ago is basically the favorite.
Was there a fight, was there a moment when you looked at Jon Jones and said, okay, this kid has what it takes?
Well, we knew that the Bader-Jones fight, the winner of that fight would break into the top 5, and he did it decisively. He went in there and finished Bader.
I have to think, though, even before then, you probably thought that he had what it takes.
Yeah, listen, and I know I told you the guys this out there, but on Thursday night on Spike TV at 11 o'clock, the new show called In the Moment with Jon Jones. And it's an awesome show. So if you're interested in Jon Jones and you want to check this show out, we're pretty proud of it.
Just want to ask you about a couple of the other fights. Urijah Faber is fighting Eddie Wineland. This is obviously a very big deal for those guys. Probably the most important bantamweight fight of all time, just based on where it's placed on the card and because it's on such a big card. And Urijah is this guy who really carried WC for so many years. Do you think that he is able to really put this 135, 145, those two divisions on the map and really be the guy that can introduce him to this new UFC audience? Or maybe, not past his prime, but he's had his better days in WC.
I think these guys are both exciting fighters. I mean, when does Urijah Faber not shine and not have a great fight and not have not blow people away with his performances. And no difference in this fight. I think both these guys are tough guys. They're going to bring it, and they want it. They want it, especially now, to have the ability. And he said it today at the press conference, to have the ability to fight in the UFC. He was training for 8 years and never thought he'd ever be in the UFC. So this is a big moment for both guys.
If Urijah wins, will he be a coach on The Ultimate Fighter against Dominic Cruz?
I don't know where that rumor came from, because I guess people are probably just assuming it because of the weight classes this season. But no, we never said that those guys would be the coaches.
So how about if he wins, does he get a title shot?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All right. Brent Schaub's fighting Mirko Krokop. I know you don't like to say, do or die for anyone, but is this really Mirko's last stand, considering his performance against Frank Mir 119? You weren't happy with that.
He's like the Randy Couture, man. We keep saying, is this his last performance? We'll see what happens. Mirko's been pretty active lately, man. This is probably the most active he's ever been. So this is a tough fight for him, though. Brennan's
not do or die, though, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, along those same, that same mindset, you were very vocal about Nate Marquardt after his last fight. You said that he choked essentially and he played it safe. Does he have a lot to prove to you on Saturday?
Yeah, listen, he doesn't have to prove anything to me. He's got to prove it to himself and for his career. This is an incredibly talented guy that's been around for a long time. I mean, he's been fighting for a long time, and I think he's good enough. He doesn't seem to let it go in the big fights. Just my opinion.
Yeah. We'll wrap this up. I just want to ask one question. I don't know if you looked at your Twitter yesterday, but you were bombarded by Wanderlei Silva fans because he threw out the idea of fighting Chris Lieben. I don't know if you saw this, but it was it was crazy. Just everyone talking about it. Is that fight happening, or is that just what Wanderlei wants?
No, that's what Wanderlei wants. That's not the fight we want for Wanderlei.
What is the fight you want for him?
We want Vitor Belfort.
Is that going to happen?
Wanderlei versus Vitor. That's the fight I want. Wanderlei knows I want that fight. Vitor's ready to roll.
Does Wanderlei not want it?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Maybe in Rio?
Run and tweet that, homeboy. All right?
All right, we'll leave it at that. UFC 128 goes down this Saturday night live from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Jon Jones goes up against Shogun Rua for the UFC light heavyweight title. Dana, thank you, as always, for the time.
Cool. My pleasure.